Have you ever thought that what you bring to the table is just too little to matter? Or maybe you're worried about failing, so you don't even give it a shot. There's a story Jesus told that completely flips our modern ideas of success and service on their head. It's the parable of the talents, and the truth it reveals about serving God can change everything for you. It starts with a master who's about to go on a long journey. Before he leaves, he calls 3 of his servants and entrusts them with his wealth. To one, he gives 5 talents, a huge sum of money. To another, 2 talents, and to the last one, he gives 1 talent. He gave to each according to his ability. Now, pause right there. The very first thing we see is that service begins with trust. The master trusted his servants with what belonged to him. In the same way, your service for God begins the moment He trusts you with something, a gift, an opportunity, a resource. It all belongs to Him, but He puts it in your hands. And notice, everyone got something. No one was left out. This is so important. You haven't been overlooked by God. He has given every single one of us gifts, abilities, and opportunities. The real question isn't whether you have anything to offer, but what you are doing with what you've been given. Now, they all received different amounts, didn't they? One got 5, another 2, another 1. But the expectation was the same for all of them. Be faithful with what you have. It wasn't a competition. The guy with 2 talents wasn't expected to produce 5. He was just expected to be a good steward of his 2. How often do we get stuck looking at what someone else has, feeling jealous or inadequate, instead of focusing on faithfully managing what's in our own hands? Our service isn't about comparing portions. It's about being faithful with our own. So, what happens next? The servant with 5 talents immediately went to work and doubled his money. He made 5 more. The one with 2 talents did the same. He gained 2 more. Their actions revealed their hearts. They understood their master's desire for growth and increase. What you do with what God has given you is a window into your understanding of His heart. It shows whether you see His gifts as a burden to protect or a seed to plant. The third servant, however, did something completely different. He took his 1 talent, dug a hole in the ground, and buried it. Why? He tells us later, he was afraid. Fear is the great enemy of service. Fear of failure. Fear of what others will think. Fear of not being good enough. This fear paralyzes us. It convinces us that the safest option is to do nothing, to hide the gift God has given us. But hiding is not faithfulness. When the master finally returns, he calls his servants to account for what they've done. The first servant comes forward and says, "Master, you gave me 5 talents. See, I have gained 5 more." And the master's response is everything. He doesn't say, "Well done, you famous and successful servant." He says, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many. Enter into the joy of your Lord." Notice the priorities. God values faithfulness far more than worldly fame or even the final results. The servant with 2 talents came and said the exact same thing, just with smaller numbers, and he received the exact same reward. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord. This tells us that the size of your gift doesn't determine the size of your reward. Your faithfulness does. Small acts of service, done with great faithfulness, are deeply valued by God. This story also shows us that true service is about investing, not hoarding. The first 2 servants understood that their master's money was not meant to be kept in a vault. It was meant to be put to work to bring a return. They took a risk. They invested it. In the same way, our gifts are meant to be invested in the lives of others, to grow God's kingdom. When you use your gift of encouragement, you don't run out of encouragement. You multiply it. When you use your resources to help someone, you are investing in eternity. Then the third servant steps up, and this is where the story takes a hard turn. He comes with an excuse. "Master," he says, "I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow? So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here, have what is yours." He blames his inaction on the master's character, but his excuse was just a cover for his own fear and idleness. Excuses will always rob you of your potential. They sound reasonable in our own heads, but they bury the very gifts God intended for us to use. The master's response is stern. He calls the servant wicked and lazy. Why? Because the servant did nothing. The master expected an increase, not just the preservation of the original amount. God doesn't demand perfection from us, but He does expect progress. He doesn't want us to remain idle with the opportunities He gives us. He's looking for growth, for us to step out and try, even if we feel we might stumble. And look at the reward for the faithful servants. It wasn't just more responsibility. The ultimate reward was an invitation. Enter into the joy of your Lord. True service isn't a grim duty we perform to earn points with God. It's a partnership. It's an invitation to join God in His work, and in doing so, to share in His joy. The deepest joy is found not in serving ourselves, but in serving Him and others. This parable reveals a powerful principle. What you use grows, and what you hide, you lose. The master takes the 1 talent from the lazy servant and gives it to the one who has 10. To the one who has, more will be given. This isn't about the rich getting richer. It's a spiritual principle. When you faithfully use the gifts God has given you, no matter how small, your capacity to serve expands. God entrusts you with more. But when you neglect your gifts, they atrophy. Your opportunity to make an impact diminishes. Your service also tests your view of God. The third servant saw his master as harsh and demanding. This distorted view poisoned his service and led to fear and inaction. How you see God determines how you serve Him. If you see Him as a loving, gracious Father who has equipped you for a purpose, you will serve with joy and courage. If you see Him as a harsh taskmaster waiting for you to fail, you will serve with fear, or not at all. So, here's the truth about serving that changes everything. Service isn't about trying to earn God's love or approval. You already have that through faith. True service is the natural overflow of a grateful heart. It's our thank you to God for His incredible grace. It's about partnering with Him, taking the gifts He's entrusted to us, and investing them for His glory. It requires risk. It requires stepping out of our comfort zones. It means choosing faithfulness over fear. So, what's in your hands? What talent has God entrusted to you? It might be a skill, a passion, your time, your story, or your resources. Don't compare it to anyone else's. And please, don't bury it out of fear. Take that one thing, that small step, and be faithful with it today, because God is looking for good and faithful servants, and He is waiting to invite you into His joy. Thank you so much for watching. If this message resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more content to help you live out your faith. We'll see you in the next video.